When you're thinking about getting a project started, one of the first things that we would ask you, what are the consequences of failure? Because there are always trade-offs. The more protection you need from the potential hazards of the shipping and handling environment, by and large, the heavier duty case shell that we would want to try to provide. So in turn, there are also other efficiencies to take into account there. That is, that we have a plethora of different molded case options, and we spent a lot of time over the years to reach out and form relationships to have as many different sizes and options as possible so we can try to get the closest match to your project. In turn, that may mean that there's a premium case that's a better fit that might cost 50% more than something that's slightly larger. So, first of all, we'd want to analyze the shipping environment or the airline size restrictions, et cetera, to see if there is a savings there to go to the one that might be more compact and more expensive. And then the larger trade-off is deciding whether we want to build something that's absolutely custom to your requirement. That always is more expensive if we're doing custom fabrication versus utilizing an existing molded product. However, it also opens up the option to tailor it. So coming back to what I spoke of, defining the consequences of failure. If you can define things that will handle probably 95, 96, 97% of the things that you typically encounter in the shipping environment. So in turn, are you willing to take a little bit of risk that 1 out of 50 or 1 out of 100 shipments might get broken? For some folks, that's an acceptable risk. They're taking standard demo gear that can be replaced fairly quickly. We've seen other situations that are extremely high value, and sometimes it doesn't relate to the value of the gear. It relates to someone holding a $3,000 set of tickets to get to a conference in Europe, where they're going to be doing a press presentation that's a very, very important issue for their company, and arriving without or arriving with broken gear, even if that's a $3 cable that got broken and when someone closed the case. That's a major, major consequence. And for example, we had a software company that we built a couple of cases for. These were to ship out a desktop CPU. They needed that larger computer format for the power of the storage space and for that. So they shipped the first one out. Their CEO was doing a run through the evening before, discovered a bug in the software. There was a panic reaction. They were able to, his folks back home, they were able to go ahead and do a backup, and so they barely made the cutoff and got the case with that computer in it to the FedEx. They literally drove it to the FedEx building. Because they didn't want the CEO to have to download the software, etc. So the next morning, right on schedule, he got a call from FedEx. FedEx said, "You had a shipment due to deliver, but unfortunately it got out of our system and got run over by a truck. The container is severely damaged. Do you want to bother to deliver it?" He thankfully had enough presence to think, well, let me go ahead and get it delivered. I might find somebody that could help me fish the hard drive out, substitute it with the unit that I have, and somehow we might be able to pull this off. So FedEx delivered the case with the dirt and the clay with the wheel marks on one end, a bolt on the frame of the truck, and cut the lid of the case literally in half. They dropped it off at his door, but he opened it up. There was enough integrity to that case that the only damage they had was a bow in the sheet metal. And they set that next to the wall. He did his demo and everything was fine. And again, that was a robust case that we happened to pick because at that time it was the only one that was a decent fit for the unit, but it was really almost overkill for someone who was doing day-to-day travel. But in that circumstance, it saved the day.